Estás viendo Canal América, televisión dominicana para el mundo.
A Time for Truth Show is sponsored by the Office of Dr. Bernard Fialkoff, a periodontal, dental implant and laser specialist in New York City, for over 40 years. Dr. Fialkoff was honored by the International College of Dentists and Pierre Fauchard, and received the Presidential Lifetime Humanitarian Honor from the White House. Call us at 718-229-3838.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard. You don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart. Yeah. You try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got, but the world takes you down. You just keep moving on. Let your fears.
Welcome to A Time for Truth Show. I'm your host, Dr. Bernard Fialkoff, and it's a pleasure to welcome you back with us again. Many of you have been asking, how do you avail yourself of all the previous episodes and become a member? Very simple. Go on YouTube. A Time for Truth Show. Click on the subscribe button and you'll be availed of all the episodes of the last 4 years. And tonight I want to get started immediately because we have a very special show. And we have a show about youth, education, and what's going on not just in our community, but in our planet, in our globe. Because if we look at it, really the world has become very small and we've become very interrelated. And it's like rooms now. It's not so far anymore. And so what happens in one room affects the other. And continents and nations really are so closely bound now that it's important that we take a look at certain humanitarian needs that we all have and share in this common bond of surviving that we share on this planet. And so tonight we're going to introduce someone to you very special. And Buddha, if you put her pictures up on the screen, we'll introduce Roseline Chikowore, the founder and executive director of Bridge Collegiate, a pioneering educational institution in Zimbabwe. A proud dual citizen of the United States and Zimbabwe. Rose has dedicated her life to bridging the educational gap between those two nations, striving to connect and expose the children of her country to American standards, potential, opportunities. There you see her with her husband, rock star Chandler Mogul. She has an impressive academic background. Chikowore holds a bachelor's degree in mathematics, a master's in financial engineering, and a PhD in mathematics. Her education and career embody her passion for leveraging academic advancement and knowledge to create tangible, real life-changing opportunities for young youth, young learners, the future generation. In founding the Bridge Collegiate, Roseline realized a vision that was both personal and profound, creating a school that connects the best of Zimbabwean potential with the expansive opportunities of the American education system. The institution she founded stands as a testament to her belief in the transformation power of quality education. And under her leadership, the school fosters innovation, cultivates global awareness, and equips her students with the skills and knowledge to excel, not only in Zimbabwe, but internationally as well. And Buddha, if you will, I want to bring us live and bring a nice, warm Time for Truth welcome to Rose Chikowore to a Time for Truth show.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Ben. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, you know, it's a pleasure to have you. And it's very, very impressive what you're doing. So I wanted to ask you some questions right at the beginning, because I know that it seems like you have a family tradition of education and that your mother had a great influence on you. So I was going to ask if you could share with our viewers a little bit about that background.
Okay, so my family is deeply rooted in education. My great-grandfather from my paternal side, he founded Chikowore Secondary and Primary School. Then on my mother's side, my maternal grandfather founded, he was the pioneer, the first Black native Zimbabweans to be college trained. Then he inspired the rest of the generation to be teachers, including my mom. And we had so many teachers on my mother's side that at one point in time, there were 6 teachers at one school bearing the name Chinyanganya. On top of that, my uncle was the first Black native Zimbabwean to attain a PhD in pharmacy. And he was a professor at the esteemed University of Zimbabwe. So the idea of the Bridge Collegiate was born out of me and my mom. My mom teaching in Zimbabwe and me here, we were sharing what I was experiencing when I was in university here. And we decided to start a school. Unfortunately, my mom passed on a year before our anticipated launch. So that delayed the launch of the Bridge Collegiate because I was so disappointed. So for 2 years, I didn't want anything to do with with founding a school. Then my mom kept talking to me about the school, reminding me that I should build a school in Zimbabwe. Then 2 years later, after her passing, I founded the Bridge.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. And you know, it's a beautiful thing. And you know, the world sometimes ignores the spiritual side, but when you go into certain monuments, certain areas, certain buildings, or you know, just parks, you can feel the presence of the people who founded them, and they're there. So I'm sure your mother is very happy with Bridge Collegiate and that it's there, and I'm sure her spirit is there. So, you know, I want to congratulate you and your entire family, your mother, for this accomplishment. You know, it's a beautiful thing.
Thank you. So on top of that, in Zimbabwe, we don't value mascots. So I dedicated the mascot for our school to my mom's totem. Their totem is a gator. So the mascot at the bridge is the Bridge Gators.
Very nice. And so, you know, then you're here in the U.S. and she was in Zimbabwe. When you came here, you got a chance to start experiencing what the U.S. is all about. And so I wanted to ask you, what did you realize in terms of where the system was here educationally and where in Zimbabwe it was, and what you saw, the gap that you saw?
So when I came to the US, I witnessed firsthand what quality education is, state-of-the-art buildings, resources, support system, and innovation. So thinking back at home, I realized that in Zimbabwe, we have a lot of talented students with immense talent, that were being held back because of the systematic barrier. So I went on a mission. That's when I started talking to my mom. She was alive then. I went on a mission to break that barrier and build the bridge so I can connect these students to those opportunities that are in America.
Very interesting. And you know, the name is exactly, I see what it does. It's the bridge, huh?
Yeah, we just named it. We just didn't name it the bridge for no reasons. It is the bridge to connect America to Zimbabwe and Zimbabwe to America.
Very nice. Yeah, I saw that immediately. And, you know, it gives, there's a power in words that gives like the thought behind them. And so probably when the students enroll, in their minds, they visualize that they're going to cross this bridge over to a higher plane, right?
Yes, they are going to cross the Atlantic Ocean through the bridge Collegiate.
That's right.
Yes.
It's very, very nice. So what I want to ask you, tell us a little bit about how the Bridge Collegiate and how it empowers the families and the students in Zimbabwe to be able to actually be qualified to come.
So we introduced, like our curriculum is a hybrid of the local curriculum and the American curriculum. So the American curriculum, on our American curriculum, we included also the SAT program because we are running a strong SAT program, and we also have technology for the students because in Zimbabwe is a third world country. So resources like technology to them, it's not like a normal thing. So at the bridge, they have technology, they have laptops, they have computers, and every student is computer literate. We have one student recently who got a perfect score on SATs, and he got a scholarship to come to one of the universities on a full scholarship. Also, last year, one of our students was selected to represent the junior cricket of Zimbabwe in India. So a lot of things are happening at the bridge. Also, we introduced a TA system where our high school graduates, instead of them looming the streets and not doing anything, after graduating, they come back to the bridge to work as TA, gaining experience as well as gaining a stipend while waiting to go to university.
It's very nice. So they really get practical experience.
Yes.
And so they really get a chance to be involved in what they're going to be doing.
Yes.
That's such a good idea, because sometimes you just do like some actions or some theories, but you don't really know. But this way you really have them aware of where they're going.
Yeah, that's true, because Zimbabwe has a 90% unemployment rate. I'm not kidding. And also the inflation rate is so high. There was a point where we had a 2,000% inflation rate.
2,000?
Yes.
Wow.
So we also introduced technical, like vocational entrepreneurship education on one of our in high school.
Yes.
So that some students, after they graduate from the Bridge Collegiate, they will not seek employment, but they will create employment. And we have a program where at the end of the year they can pitch their business plan, and the winner will get funding from the bridge.
That's a great idea.
Yes.
And you know what? That's so important, because you're creating leaders, entrepreneurs who are going to actually be able to help their community and change, because inflation is very interesting. That your idea is an excellent idea, because inflation basically means there's not enough production, there's not enough product in the economy. So by making these leaders who are going to make businesses, production will increase, and that will by itself reduce the inflation in the future in Zimbabwe.
That's true.
Very good. Well, I can see why you have a PhD in mathematics.
Yeah, I'm a math whiz.
Well, I have a lot of respect for you because I remember how lost I was in my first semester of calculus with theorems. So the fact that you were able to get all that and a PhD, that's amazing to me.
Yeah, so also that is one of the reasons why I founded the Bridge Collegiate, because in Zimbabwe, the education system is exam-centered. So, and also it's polarized. If you are a science student or a math student, specialized in math, the only thing that you know is mathematics. They don't teach you speaking or writing. So the Bridge, one of the goal is to develop a well-rounded student, because it was a challenge for me when I came here. I was a math genius, but I didn't know how to speak. I didn't know how to write because they didn't teach me that.
Well, you know what? As you're speaking, I realized something that we're going to be able to do, and you'll be able to go back into your school and offer it, that this top student who wins with a project we'll have on the show here.
Yes.
And,
I forgot to say something.
Tell me.
Two of our students were shortlisted for the final National Science Foundation on their robotic project.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And they shortlisted like 150 students. And there are 1,800 schools in Zimbabwe. But of that 150 students, two, we were the only school with two students from the same school shortlisted for that. It's an esteemed fair that my students were part of it, yes.
Congratulations.
So those ones, if I have to bring any students, I'm going to bring those two to present here.
Well, yeah, because what happens is that this will go a tremendous way for them to be comfortable in speaking, presenting, and since they have something that they're going to offer the world, it's important for them to become really well-rounded leaders and be comfortable with just people in general. Sure.
Yes.
That's so important. I wanted to ask you something, because you came to the United States and then you've been starting the Bridge Collegiate. So I wanted to ask you, because sometimes people think everything is just wine and roses and everything goes so easily. But the reality I've seen myself in my own endeavors. So what barriers did you encounter, and how did you surpass them as you started to do this goal that you had in this life, this dream of yours?
So the road was tough. There were barriers every turn. First, there's no funding in Zimbabwe, no loans, funding programs, no subsidy. So everything about the bridge was self-funded, out of pocket. On top of that, navigating the registration and licensing of the schools, there is convoluted, long, expensive, too many offices, a lot of bureaucrats going, and it was so like I was there were points that I was almost giving up, but with the help of my principal in Zimbabwe, he was the one who motivated me to continue. Then we also had problems like hiring good teachers, effective teachers. I don't know if it's to do with when people with a poor mind, they don't have a good work ethics. And that will be my next project, to teach Africans good work ethics. And another barrier was internet, water, electricity, the things that you here in America, you think like basic, you take for granted, but there we didn't have that. So I drilled 2 bores at the bridge, and one of the bores, my husband drilled that. And also thanks to Elon Musk, now we have Starlink at our school. So the only problem that we still have, it's electricity, because sometimes they do load shedding. So sometimes we don't have electricity, sometimes we have, but water and internet, we are good now. And all the registration process is done.
That's good. Well, you know, I would think where you are, that there must be tremendous sunlight, and maybe the answer would be solar power, because there's actually an entity that I know that is willing to put the solar panels in areas and generates. So we'll have to see if maybe we can connect you up with them.
That would be great. Because like when we don't have electricity, then our Starlink doesn't work.
Sure,
then
absolutely.
we cannot connect globally, because we want to be connected with America always. So I'll talk about the other part, that we will need electricity as much as.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to answer one of your questions, there's a program that I've done, and it's not my program, but I've heard about it. It's very good, for ethics, because I think that's integrity is something not just in Zimbabwe, but really in the world has been suffering. And the world, I think, is suffering because the integrity of the people has been decreasing, the work ethic, like you were saying.
Yeah, it's
But
so
there's
disappointing.
Right, but there's actually a very interesting program, and it's called The Way to Happiness, which is common sense, which is what people have lost in today's world, is common sense. But it puts back common sense, and then they realize, oh, what I produce helps this one, and what they produce helps me, and it opens their mind. So I'll introduce you to that when we get a chance.
Okay.
But I want to ask you, in your school, please share with the viewers some successes of your students, maybe how they came in and what happened, or they thought they were never going to make it. The next thing, they're a superstar. And go ahead and please, if you would, share some of those stories.
So at our school, we don't select, like most schools in Zimbabwe, especially the elite schools. They are very highly selective. They want the cream, like the best of the best. But we were taking everyone, because at the bridge, one of our mission is to ignite the spark of genius in every child. We believe that everyone is talented, everyone is intelligent in a different way. So we took everyone and we nurtured their talent, their passion, and the areas where they were strong, we nurtured that area. And so most of our students, everyone is intelligent at the Bridge Collegiate in their own way.
Yeah, I like that approach, because I have to be honest with you. When I was young, because I was very quiet, which no one would ever believe in the show, but it's true. I was very quiet and I was shy. And so a lot of people in my family really didn't know me because I didn't speak much, but they thought I had no potential. And I know you're laughing. But I was really observing life. So it's interesting that you give these other youth who are similar, because sometimes someone is very vocal and outward. Others are maybe philosophers and visionaries and are quiet. Everyone is different. But your way of doing and educating is very interesting, because it gives an open opportunity. And I can understand why, you started the school. I wanted to ask you, I think you're probably envisioning like doing some kind of exchange system with the U.S. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, yeah, we do want to do exchange. We are planning to do, we introduced it this year. So we are going to do virtual and physical, exchange programs. So with the virtual, they can interact, collaborate with some high school students. My school runs from pre-K to 12. So
you span the whole expanse.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah, it's from pre-K. We want it all to the end. We want to start with them young and finish
you have a lot of courage. You take responsibility right from the beginning.
Yes.
That's very good.
Yeah, we started from
You're
like
courageous.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
So we are planning to have exchange programs, both virtual and physical exchange programs, so that our students can collaborate with students here in the US and do projects together virtually and build friendship. And at one point, I think maybe starting next year, we want like physical. exchange programs, that our students will come here for exchange programs. And also we are going to invite students from the US to come and do some projects with students at the Bridge Collegiate.
Very good. That's a great idea. And you know what? I have my group, so I know that I'm always looking to partner and collaborate. So I wanted to ask you, with Bridge Collegiate that you're running, how can people who are out there, how can they collaborate with you? How can they help? How can they get involved?
Partnership with universities, colleges, and organizations who share the same vision that we have will make a ripple effect on the change. And also they can also provide, if they have like educational tools, teaching resources, and even, you know, one man's trash is another person's treasure. They have computers, like they are retiring computers at a school. That would be treasure at the Bridge Collegiate.
And you can utilize them.
We can utilize them, yeah. And some computers, tablets that are collecting dust, it's springtime. So instead of trashing it, trash it to us. We will use them.
Sure, and then you can also get the donation too.
Yeah, we can also, financial resources.
Yeah, it's the donation.
Are welcome.
Yeah, for the person who's donating, it's to their advantage to donate instead of just, you know, getting rid of it. Sure.
Yes.
Very good. Those are great ideas. And you know, what I was going to ask you, in our world now, you know, because I mean, you're a PhD, you founded a school, you have a tradition of education. What do you see that you feel needs to happen? What issues do you see going on in the world with education?
Equity, access to, like in the world, especially in the third world countries, there are millions of students who are lacking access to basic education, not like like exceptional, innovative education, basic education.
Yeah.
And also quality education. And they lack quality education in most, especially even in my country, there's a lack of quality education and outdated curriculum. That was one of the motivating factors, that the curriculum, especially in my country, is so outdated and it's irrelevant.
It has to be brought,
it's exam centered. They don't teach knowledge and skills.
Yes.
But at the Bridge, we are teaching for the exam, for knowledge and skills. They are getting everything in one.
Very nice. It's all rounded.
It's well rounded. Our students are articulate, more articulate than their director. Yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's everything that's very good. The time flies, and we're almost at the end of the show. But I want to ask you something, Rose. What final message would you like to leave our viewers on what you would like to see happen in this coming year?
Education, quality education or basic education is a right. It's not a privilege. So if you have anything to help those who don't have access to education and make a world a better place through education.
That's fantastic. I totally agree with you. And do you have an email or a website that we should give so they can contact you?
Yeah, our website is thebridgecollegiate.com, .org, thebridgecollegiate.org. And our Facebook page is the Bridge Collegiate.
Very good.
At the Bridge Collegiate.
Okay, so there you go. If you're interested, thebridgecollegiate.org. And let's make a better world. The reality is...
through education.
Right?
Yes.
Exactly. Well said. And you know what? If you look at it, those young kids in the future, and if we help, what will happen? Who knows? Who knows why wars don't happen and instead discoveries happen? Who knows why epidemics that were supposed to come never materialize, and yet these great discoveries happen on nature and electricity. And you know, many times in the past, people who discovered were so far ahead of time, and years later we realize. Let's not wait years or centuries later. Let's support movements like this, and let's move forward. It's a pleasure to have been with you tonight. And from a Time for Truth show, we'll see you next segment. Have a very good night. Be well. Thank you, Rose.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
This show was sponsored by A Time for Truth Foundation Incorporated as a community service.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard. You don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart. Yeah. You try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got. But the world takes you down. You just keep moving on. Let your feet